Yes. 2, 1.
The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, GWT family. I just want to thank everybody who is joining in on the call tonight for a great webinar that we're going to be having, the Roadmap to Success with Phase 4. Looks like we have Toronto joining on in the call. We have Minnesota on the call. We have Europe. We have Winnipeg, Asia, Nigeria, and West Africa. Welcome, welcome, you guys. You guys are in for some fantastic training tonight, so I hope you guys all have your pen and your paper ready. You guys can take some great notes. I know that I have mine here. My name is Sandy Nguyen, and I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I am part with Ambitious Movement and also the USA Expansion. I'm going to be your host for this evening. I have great pleasure in introducing tonight's two trainers who are no strangers amongst the GWT family. We have our regional ambassador, Maria Ghaderi, and we have Ambassador Marshall Nguyen. But for those who do not know who these two ambassadors are, I would like to take a minute to share a little bit about them. First off, our regional ambassador, our youngest regional ambassador in the company, at the age of 29 years old, she is clearing $20,000 a month and traveling all over the world to help people change their lives. She started off first in the banking industry, and only at the age of 25, she was able to retire based off of her home-based business and her success with GWT. She's also been named one of the top 50 mentors and trainers in the industry by businessforhome.org, and she's also won many prestigious awards, such as Top Winner of Canada in 2014, as well as been nominated for by our CEO for the 2014 President's Cup Award, as well as the winner of Executive Choice Award. Not only is she one of GWT's top income earners, she's also a part of the Leadership Council Group, no other than Miss Maria Ghaderi. Next, we also have a good friend of mine, Mr. Marshall Nguyen. He's the pioneer who brought GWT to Minnesota. He's the youngest ambassador in the company and the only USA ambassador. At the age of 26, he's been featured in businessforhome.org and also has been leading the USA market. He's been recognized with the company and has won many leadership awards. He does not, his business continues to grow on a daily basis with Ambitious Movement. And Maria and Marshall, are you here with us tonight?
I am here.
I am here. Thank you very much, Sandy, for the wonderful introduction. We definitely feel like celebrities coming from you. So.
That's awesome. That's right. You did an amazing job, Sandy. Your first time hosting the call. I'm so excited to see another female leader rising up from United States. It's exciting. How are you doing, Marshall?
I am doing good. Thank you. It's been a blessed week so far and a blessed month, and we can't wait to finish up the year with a strong push to breaking diplomats and ambassadors all over the United States.
Absolutely. I know as many of you who are been in the business, GWT family, you know we are in the middle of high prime season. And first of all, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being on the call, GWT family from all around the world. Still people are keep logging in. We started the call a little bit early today. So we're excited. We're in the middle of high prime season. I know Marshall and I've been working together over the text messages and calls and Skype messages and Google. We're using technology. And with the team, with other ambassadors and regional ambassadors all around the world, we've been working days and nights and whatever it takes, whether it's a text message or Facebook message, and we are just trying to get going with the phase 4 and especially like creating this webinar for tonight. So we're really, very excited. So Marshall, ready to take off?
Sounds good. Thank you. Yeah, we're definitely excited, and we have a lot of good information for all of you tonight to help you prosper and speed up your business, because you joined the company to have a wonderful lifestyle, and we're very excited to share it to you what we're doing to have the success that we have.
Absolutely. So the roadmap to success with phase 4. All right. So before we get started tonight, I just want to let all of our audience know tonight, Marshall, that you and I have been working on this webinar for pretty much for weeks. You're here. You're on this webinar tonight for a treat because we've done so much research and interviews and work to be able to put this information to make sure that the information is not coming only from me and Marshall, but it's something that's been working around the globe when it comes to phase 4. So let's get started. So what we're going to be talking about is turning a prospect. Tonight we're going to show you how to turn a prospect to a luxury consultant and
turning a new luxury consultant into a leader a leader in training, and also the process of duplication.
Absolutely. So, you know, a lot of stuff that you're going to be hearing tonight, for those of you who are on this call, if you're a new member, take lots of notes because many of this information you hear tonight might be very new to you. You might, if you just joined a few days ago or a few weeks ago, and maybe even a month ago, many of the information you're going to hear tonight might be a little bit too much, or you might not understand exactly what it says. On the other hand, for those of you who've been in the business for a long time, a lot of this information that will be said tonight is actually very basic stuff. So it might sound repetitive, but at the same time, you know, we want to basically bring everyone back to basics. So wherever you're in the business, it's perfect for you to hear the basics, or if you're new, just learn what's coming up in the future. Okay. So the first thing we're going to be talking about tonight is how to turn a prospect to a luxury consultant. So it's basically, you know, the process of launching a new VDM owner. How do you launch a new VDM? Basically utilizing and leveraging the tools that we have in the phase, especially in the phase 4. So Marshall, what is the first thing that we're going to be focusing on when we are in the phase 4, when we are trying to launch a new VDM?
Absolutely. The first and most important thing is I hope everybody understands what the trader program is and how to use the trader program effectively. You know, with all the amazing training that has been happening and going around on how to promote phase 4 effectively, the trader program is made for network marketers that have lost money within the industry. And we all know that with global wealth trade, the grass is much more greener here, and that you can actually make money within the industry because Ramin Maskalu is so nice enough to take away so many loopholes for a person to earn money. So we are so confident that when you build your business with us, you're going to make money. So what we're going to do for you is that I'm going to give you up to $10,000 in rewards. I'm sorry, up to $1,000 to reimburse you all the money that you have lost in your current or previous company.
Absolutely. So the trade-up program, if I understand properly, and now if you have any of the regional ambassadors or national ambassadors on the call, you can correct me after, but the main objection of a trade-up program that was created, and it is added at the end of the tour, is basically it's a prospecting tool. It's a prospecting tool for you to go out and promote GWT and the packages and the promotion we have to people in the network marketing MLM industry. So it's a prospecting tool, just like you use the tax training for North Americans. You use the tax training as a prospecting tool to go and basically target the entire industry of people who are employees and have a job. You're using the tax training as a prospecting tool to go and get these people into your business. You use the trade-up program the same to go to use it as a prospecting tool to target in the industry and people who are already invested into other MLM companies. So that's what it was designed for. Now, what you want to stay away is not to use, when the prospect is ready to join with a normal package or they were going to start with a normal package anyways, you don't want to use the trade-up packages to give them discounts. That's what you want to stay away. And what do you think the reason is Marshall, that people shouldn't use for a normal prospect the trade-off packages? What do you think the reason is?
The main reason too is that you want to make sure that your prospect, also, aka your new luxury consultants, will get as much product as possible, because with any type of business, you're going to need inventory, right? So if you're able to maximize, the full package potential, you can get anything, from shoes for women, handbags for women, sunglasses for men, anything that you need to cover yourself from head to toe for your product. Because what's going to happen is that when you walk down the street, you are literally a walking billboard. So when you become a walking billboard, when somebody sees something nice, what are they going to do? They're going to say, "That's beautiful. Where did you get it?" So that's so important, that everybody that gets started maximize the packages and not do trade-up program unless they really have lost so much money within their company. And also, your team will also get the most volume going through your business as well.
Absolutely. So that's the main thing that you want to pay attention when you're using the trade-up program. That if they use the trade-up packages, there's less product and there's less volume. Now, the next thing that you are paying attention when you are launching a new VDM is set them up powerfully from the beginning. So you don't want to tell them, come on, join the packet. You're joining the business only because you want to get discounts on the product, unless that's what they want. But that's not the main objection. Or I've seen, people say, just come and join the business because you like fashion. Come and join the business because, I don't even know, save up on your taxes. Those are all the benefits of the business, but it's not the why they should be starting. So have them to create a powerful why. Basically, and they need to be clear on their why they need to join the business and then build a business. So unless if the person is already wealthy enough and say, you know what, I'm just going to join, I'm never going to do the business, I'm not interested in the business, I'm just going to join because I want to, do shopping, that's fine. But if you have a prospect who you can tell they can use an extra $500 or $1,000 into their life, and they can have a why, have them get clear on their why. So this way, when they join, not only they are going to they join the business and use the product, but also they actually going to be a builder and a leader in the future. Now, the next point, which that brings us to the next point, about asking the 3 powerful questions. Marshall, what are the 3 powerful questions people should be asking their prospect when they're trying to close or they're trying to help them to launch their VDM?
Absolutely. So after the tour, the 3 most powerful questions that you can ask them is, 1, what did you like the most? Or what did you like best, right? The reason why you want to ask that, use the term most or best, is because it's a positive question. What did you like best? They will focus on what they like best about what they saw. And the second one is, what do you think this business can do for your life, right? So once you ask a question, the psychology of it is basically they're going to give you so many reasons why they need this business. So now, as a consultant, you have the answers to their situation, to their problems, right? So, why do you think this business can do for a life? Some of the answers could be, I want to pay off debt for my family. So now you use those answers to your benefit, because you know for a fact what we have can change their lives. And after that, number 3 is, which package are you looking to get started with? How I close my potential LC is after when they say, hey, after when they give me the answer to number 2, what do you think this can do for your life? Okay, let's get started. Which package do you want to get started with? Boom, boom, boom. Done. I want to get started with the diamond package, the gold, the plankton. So that question, because they're excited now. When they're letting you know that, when they are sharing what they're excited about, that's when you come in and ask them which package you want to get started with, so you can start living the life that you want.
Absolutely. And it's so powerful, Marshall, what you said about the third question. Basically, the third question is the final self questions that they always say, if you don't ask that question, the prospect is just left hanging. Okay, so now what? So we don't ask, we always tell people don't ask, so what do you think? We don't even ask, are you joining? Those are the questions you shouldn't be asking. But when you ask, which package you're looking at, you're indirectly, without making them put their guards up, you're indirectly asking them to join you. And, when they say silver, retailer, gold, diamond, whatever package they say, that's yes, I'm ready. And, you don't do anything else other than if you're in one-on-one, you give them the application and let them fill out the application. Or if you're over the phone or online, you just send them the application form or the VIP form and let them to fill out and pick a package that they set. So it's very simple. All right, so that's, if you want to learn more about the closing, we can do like a separate training on that. We've already done so many trainings about closing, but those are the main 3 questions you should be asking when you're closing someone. Now, what's the next one? Use the regional weekly events to connect your prospects and your luxury consultants to your team. I know, Marshall, you've been building in Minneapolis. How do you use that for your new for your prospects and new LCs?
Yes, we have weekly events and also weekly trainings each and every single week with global World Trade leaders and corporations. So you want to make sure, when you get somebody started, you want to get them started right. You want them to get started on the right path, the fastest way possible, and how you can do that is connect them to the weekly events. Because what's that going to show them is that, hey, there are actually people in the team, that are building the business, and what that does for them is it inspires them, right? Our goal is to inspire people, and when you have those events, you see that people are working together for a common cause, which is to help each other build a significant business. And also with new LCs as well, sometimes when I have people that do not have the funds yet to get started, but I know they told me that they want to get started, I still connect them to the weekly events and also to the weekly trainings, because what that does is that it plugs them into the business right away, even though they're not actually in it, but they're able to start learning what they need to get done first, and then and once they start to get a package, they already know what to do, and they can start the business much faster.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's a very great tool to use. The regional weekly events that is happening in your market, if there is one, and if it's not, that's why we have GWT Family, or we have other groups online for those of you who are building in a market that there's not a weekly tools yet. Okay, so now the next thing that you want to do is say very little but to a lot of people. Okay, because remember, the 2 main mistakes all the network marketers in the entire industry make: number 1, they talk too much. Okay, number 2, they talk too much to very little people. So they only talk to 3 or 4 people, but then they talk too much to those people that they almost talk them out of the business, and then they wonder why network marketing doesn't work. So now you want to do opposite to that. You want to talk a little bit about your opportunity, but talk to so many people. And that's a secret to create success in this industry. All right, so we're moving on to how to turn a prospect to a luxury consultant. So keep continuing on turning a prospect to a luxury consultant. Some of the to-do list. What is the first thing that you should be doing, Marshall, when you're trying to turn a prospect to a luxury consultant?
Absolutely. I always focus on like and trust, because what I was taught with our amazing leaders is that 66% is like and trust, and the rest is all business, right? Because people, they want to like and trust you first, or for them to partner up with you. So how do you do that? There's certain scripts that you can use. Hey, how's your day? What do you do for work? How many do you have any kids? Are you married? So once you build that like and trust people, getting to know them genuinely. When you genuinely wanting to get to know people, they see it and they like you a lot more. And then afterwards, that's when you start asking questions of how, if they're looking more, if the life that they have, are they comfortable with it? The job that they have, are they comfortable with it? Is it giving them the lifestyle that they want, right? And afterwards, once I build the like and trust, that's when the tour and also the one-on-one come into play.
And for those of you who don't know what it means exactly to build like interest or what the script that you should be using, if you're new in the business, make sure to connect with your upline, your My5, and ask them to connect you to the right approach system and the script that we have already on the rgwt.com. They will connect you to, and if you don't know, if you don't have a qualified upline, feel free to either reach myself or Marshall, and we will send you the videos, recorded videos about that. So that's what to do. The second one that you should be doing when you are trying to turn a prospect to a new luxury consultant is use your upline for three-way calls after the tour. So that's one of the things that's important. You know, use your upline as much as you can. I know Marshall, you're someone who built the entire market, you know, on your own. I mean, myself and Leo been there a couple of times, and Sherry was there once. But in the past a year and a half, almost 2 years, you've been building the market on your own, and all you've been using is three-way calls. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. You know, till this day, you know, even at Leo or Maria, I still call them for a three-way call because you have to understand, guys, what this does is that it builds more credibility in what you are doing. Because some people, they don't want to, you know, you could sit there and say you know everything, but if there's a third party that comes in to basically reconfirm what you're saying, then that trust gets built, right? You know, last week I talked to a few people. I still did a three-way call with Leo and Maria, and it just builds more credibility and makes your job much easier when you do the three-way calls after the tour. You know, like I tell a lot of my team members, don't say less and let us do the rest. What I mean by that is that say less after one or two. You know, if you're brand new, say less once you're you know, once you're done with the tour, and let the uplines do the rest. And how you do that is doing the three-way calls.
And for those of you who've been in the business for, you know, a while, and you probably have, you know, diplomats in your team, you have successful builders in your team, you have ambassadors in your team, you know, feel free. I mean, don't be shy to ask your team members. At this point of my career with Global World Trade, I have developed, you know, ambassadors and many, many diplomats in the team, first, second, third, fourth generation, whatever you call it. So at this point, I actually don't call Reza or Renee or Leo or Sherry anymore for a three-way call. I don't need to. These guys have big teams. So I actually use Marshall the most. I use Sebastian the most. I use, I don't even know, people in the team like Azanet, Nina. I use these people for three-way calls for my new members. Obviously, when I'm about to sponsor someone in their common team, I reach in that common team if they're gonna have an outline like Marshall, so I use Marshall to introduce them to the new member that Marshall will have in the common team. So you know, use your leaders in your team and have them. This is gonna give you your leaders kind of like recognition and also at the same time, you know, it's encourage them to be even more stronger when you start using them for three-way call, but at the same time, you know, it creates unity between the team. And they get really good at three-way calls, because right now for me it's more important, you know, Marshall and Sandy to become good at three-way calls. So that's why I use them as much as I can for three-way calls for my new members. And this is perfect for those of you who've been in the business. Try to use your leaders inside your team for new members that are joining, because it makes your leaders even stronger. It's a practice for them. So that's a great one. Now, the second thing that the third thing that we're gonna talk about, share stories and testimonials. You know, even if you don't have the person available to share their story on the call, you use their stories. When Sherry Zhao was delivering the baby in Hawaii, you know, she wasn't available to share her amazing, inspiring story. But guess what? I think during that time, I was sharing her story almost everywhere. And I got the most ladies, prospects, and team members inspired by her story than any time before. Just because it's an amazing story, being pregnant, giving birth in Hawaii to a child, and earning $27,000 in a month, which was like, I think, $6 grand in a week. So it's an amazing story. It's almost like it never happened in the world. So I was sharing that story with everyone. I was talking to everybody. So share people's stories. I share Marshall's stories with everyone. I shared yours story. I don't need to get on the phone with them to get them to share. I just share their stories with and their testimonials with my prospects to help the prospect to join and make their decision. So the next statement is basically
I'm sorry. Ask questions more than making statements or comments. Only answer the questions they ask, no more. Guys, I actually, I used to always do this. I used to answer questions that they didn't even have, and it becomes so irrelevant that they, basically, get too confused of what I'm even talking about. So the most important thing is, just ask questions more than making statements or comments. Just answer the questions that they only ask, right? So once you are done asking them questions, once they are done asking questions, and once you answer the questions, all you can say is, okay, your last thing should be okay, like in terms of, so then they won't ask you any more questions, if that makes sense. So Maria, can you comment on more on this topic?
Absolutely. I know Renee has a Renee is a great example of that, because I used to ask a lot of questions. And he actually taught us, he's like, okay, so when somebody asks you a question, just answer that question and then finish it with the word okay. Okay? So if any of you have ever interacted with Renee, ever asked him a question on the phone or in person, you can see that's how he does. And so he answered the question, only the question he asked, very short, quick, to the point, and then he finished it with okay. And then you kind of like left, okay, so okay, I got it. So it's actually works perfectly, because you don't want to give it actually prevents you from giving irrelevant information and talking too much, because we're excited about the business. And when the prospect asks, a very simple question, we tend to go on and on about other stuff that we're excited that is actually irrelevant to actual question. And then when we talk, it creates more, first, it overwhelms and makes the prospect tired. And then second, it creates more questions, and now they're not sure if this is a good question. Now they're like, okay, I have a lot of questions. So that's why finishing it with the word okay and making it quick to the point is actually very, very useful. And one of the basic things that I learned that helped me a lot with closing is asking more questions than making any statement. Now, the next point that we want to talk about is if they don't join your business, make sure to sign them up as a VIP. Wow, how amazing is that? Why is signing them up as VIPs important, Marshall?
It's important because it keeps them in the game. It keeps them reminded that they have access to an exclusive designer line that only closed members have access to, right? So for I've done one-on-ones and tours where the prospect does, they can't join right away, or or the business is not for them, right? So don't walk away without having anything. You need to walk away with a VIP customer, because when the holiday comes, when the anniversary comes, when birthday comes, who are they going to think of? You. And the reason why is because they can get certain special discounts. They could get, they can use a $15 gift certificate. Just so many things that can benefit your potential customer. So whenever you do a tour or whatever, whoever are not able to get started right away, sign them up as a VIP customer. And I can tell you for sure, I've had people in the past where they sign up as a VIP customer, and then months later they upgraded to a package, and I didn't even know. And if I didn't do that, then they had no access to signing up as a LC in the future. So that's why, if someone doesn't join yet, sign them up as a VIP so they can have access, so they can see the galleries, so they can see the products that we have.
That's right. So, and then the last thing that you want to pay attention is, infinite follow-up. Many of the leaders inside this company, including myself, Taylor, Sherry Zhao, Renee, even Reza, and many of us actually never joined in the first attempt. We actually didn't join when we saw the tool right away. We actually joined because the person wasn't going to let us go. The person was keep following up over and over every week, every month, and I personally joined, I think, after 2 years follow-up. So follow-up, instead of follow-up is very important, and I have LCs in my team who join after 4 years follow-up. So never give up on people and keep following up until they tell you, I'm going to call 911 if you don't stop calling me. So follow up until that point. Now, some of the things that we should not be doing, not to do. First of all, don't push the trade-up packages when they're ready to join with normal packages. You don't want to push the trade-up package because the person is getting discount. That's the worst thing you can do in your business. Instead, use the trade-up package to encourage them to use that to target their MLM network. Okay, that's what the trade-up is. I know, Marshall, you have a very good testimonial about that, where you got somebody in Las Vegas, your team member, who joined, and then you encourage him to use the trade-up packages to go after people in the industry and the company that he was part of, and now his team is growing in Las Vegas using the trade-up package, but not encouraging them to start. I mean, for myself, when the person joined, even though I prospect them using the trade-up package, and the person was another MLM, and I prospect them, and I said, we have this program, they get excited, they get interested, and they're like, okay, so I want to learn more, and then I show them the business. But when it comes to joining, they say, okay, so can I start with the trade-up package? And I said, you can, but I just want to let you know the trade-up packages are awesome. However, it doesn't give you the amount of product that the normal package gives. And without the product, it would be hard to build a business. So if you can start with a normal package, start with a normal package, but the trade-up package is great for you now to go and target teams of people in other MLM companies. So it's kind of like an incentive you give away. So if the person really likes the product and really understand the quality of the product, they actually will start with a normal package because they get a lot of product. Now with trade-up package, they're going to get less product and you're going to get less volume. But it's an amazing promotion that we have that you can use it as a tool to go and target the entire MLM industry, right? So do you have anything to add to that, Marshall?
That's perfect. Don't push the trade-up package unless you're pushing it to a networker that has lost money. So, but for new people, I've been having a lot of success. People want to get started with the original price so they can get more product. So you are definitely on point with that, Maria.
Awesome. So now the next thing is keep your prospect and new LCs away from negative people. Why is that important? To first recognize if everybody is negative in your team, and then keep them away. I think it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah,
what would you say about that?
Definitely common sense, because you don't want a virus to continue to grow, right? So, that's just business, like any type of business is always some, negative people. And in our company, we call them the sunblocks. So make sure when you have new LCs, keep them away from people that are complainers, always, just complaining in general and not being positive, because this is a positive business. So this business should be aimed for positive people. So if you have an LC that comes in and then they're exposed to someone that's being negative, what is that going to do? It's going to kill their positivity. It's going to kill their energy. So you want to make sure to keep your negative people in the negative space. The new LCs that come in, always expose them to what's good, right? And then just keep that positive energy going, that positive movement going, because that's what's going to build your business long term. And so our next topic is don't try to do all yourself, everything by yourself. Use your strong uplines. This was actually one of the things that I had to overcome, because I always, somehow, for some reason, I did everything on my own. I didn't want to ask help, but it actually got me tired. So I've learned, and Maria has a testimonial for that. It's a funny story.
I need a charger.
Yeah, so definitely, so definitely use your strong uplines to help you get the stuff done. And another one is don't talk them out of the business. Don't say info they never asked to use. And we definitely covered this earlier. Don't talk too much. Only answer questions that they have. Don't start answering questions that they didn't even ask. So, any more things that you want to add on, Maria?
No, I mean, really, it's all about don't try to do this business on your own. I mean, it's a business, and you know, as CEO of your own brand, your own team, your own organization, you need to get some support and training from your upline. So it's impossible to do this business on your own without support of your upline. So use your upline as much as you can. Use the leadership as much as you can. Learn as much as you can from them when you're building this business. Okay. You know, the last thing is don't talk them out of the business. Again, when you talk to my seminar, CEO says the best when he says bite your tongue until it bleeds, because basically, you know, when you talk too much, you talk the person out of the business, and they get tired, they get overwhelmed. So that's why it's important to only ask questions and only answer the questions that is relevant to the question that was asked. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is how to, so now you got a new consultant to your team, and now how to turn a new luxury consultant to a leader. And this is a topic that many of you on this call probably are interested, because duplication of the process and the secret to residual income. If your team is not duplicating and you don't create leaders in your team, there is no residual income. So duplication is very important. Now, how do you create that leader in your team? So there's a couple of things that you need to do in the first 24 hours to 48 hours when the person joining. What's the first thing, Marshall, that we've been already talked about it so much?
You know, definitely connect them to your My5 support team. What this does is that it shows that there's a team of people that has their best interest in their success. What I usually do, and also my team, is that we usually call our My5s and you know, one-on-one and introduce them to our prospect. If you're unable to do that, and if you use Facebook a lot, well, what you can also do too is create like a chat box and put all your My5s on there and edify each and every single person, and also introduce your new LCs to them. And then that's another way for them to connect to the My5. And also any questions or concerns that your new LC might have, let them know. Put them, you can ask them, you can ask those questions in the message, and your My5 is there to help and support you. So make sure to utilize them.
Absolutely, great point. So the next thing is that you need to pay attention is connect them to Launchpad to set their target. So Launchpad is basically set the target for them in the next 30 days. So it's very important for you to connect your new member to the Launchpad. And then after that, connect them to the next 30 days training. And for those of you who don't know, or you're new, next 30 days training and Launchpad are getting actually being trained every Tuesday on a live webinar on Tuesday nights, and it's been recorded. So I personally always send the recording one to my new member who join. I'm not going to have them wait until Tuesday night, and then I have them to rejoin again on Tuesday night and listen to the live ones. They really get master at next 30 days training steps and the Launchpad targets. And one of the things I personally do when I send them the next 30 days training and Launchpad, after they watch it, I actually ask them. I either call them or send them a message or a text message, and I'm like, so what did you learn from Launchpad and next 30 days training? Pay attention to that. Whatever they tell me they learned, that's what they're going to be doing next. Okay? So I want to make sure first they got what was said on the webinar. They were not sleeping or doing something else when the webinar was on. Second, I want to know what are they going to do with the business. So if the person says, I'm excited, I learned, that I'm going to do my branding party, that's what they're going to do next. If they said, I just got that I need to become a diplomat, that's what they're going to do next. They're going to become a diplomat. If they say, I'm making my list, I learned that I have to make my list, and I have to do a tour, and I have to, do this and that, that's what they're going to be doing next. So that's what you need to do is when they send them the next 30 days training and Launchpad, call them after and ask them, what did you learn? Whatever they tell you, that's what they're going to do next. Okay? So now, what's the next one? What's the next thing that they should be doing with their new LC, Marshall?
Is help them put together a list, right? The people that they know, the friends, family, the neighbor, like their doctor, anybody that they know that they have, anybody that they know and they have contact to, and help them put together a list. Talk about their approach scripts, right? How you approach people. Teach them how to approach people correctly and practice among each other. And afterwards is talk about the three-way call, what they need to do effectively to do the three-way call. So what we usually teach is that, hey, offer them a $300 gift certificate to people to watch the opportunity, the franchising opportunity, and afterwards do the tour. Then before you do the tour, make sure to ask your My 5, hey, are you available to do a three-way call, right? So one of us will definitely be available. Then afterwards, your new LC are able to do a three-way call, and they're going to edify them. And again, the new and also like the My 5 support team member, whoever's doing the three-way call, will close your prospect. To answer all the questions, I think.
So basically, what you want to do is focus on those things. Focus on their list, approach scripts, and three-way calls. That's what you need to be focused when you're sponsoring a new member. Connect them to weekly webinars and local trainings. This is very important because if they miss something and if they don't want to listen to you because they're your friends or because you're the sponsor, when they are on the weekly webinars, they're constantly learning new stuff from new trainers. So it's important to be on a Tuesday night webinar and Sunday night webinar every single week and connect them to any bootcamp or any other training that's happening in their market. The next thing that you need to pay attention is they're setting their branding party and their tour. What do you do about that, Marshall? Do you set the branding party and tour when you launch a new member every time?
Yes, definitely. You want to talk about branding party and tour, and the most important thing is if you are the upline, come and support them, right? Here in Minnesota, what we usually do for new people, we usually invite the whole team over. So what that does is that it's going to show that there's a lot of support, and when your customers or when your guests see that there's a team of people helping them, they can see, hey, you know what? I think I can do this too because it seems like there's a lot of support. So definitely, when you open a business, what you do, you have a grand opening, right? So when you have a grand opening, this is the same thing as having your first branding party to showcase the products that you have and the business that you are part of.
Right. That's awesome. So now the next thing is sort of their binary setting before their first LC basically gets sponsored. So it's important, it's in their back office. Your new member don't know about binary setting. They don't understand what is common team, what is personal team. Like you don't want to explain those things to them in their first 24 hours. Again, why? Because it's a lot of information. They don't need to know about those stuff yet until they learn the first basic stuff. You don't want their brain to get busy with information that's not going to produce results for you or for them. Instead, you want them to be focused on their list, focus on their approach, focus on the next 3 days action plan. But you want to make sure to teach them to go to the back office and change the binary setting from default to the common team. And you're the offline, you know what is their common team. They don't need to know the details until later when they learn everything. Okay. So now, what are some of the to do and not to do? What's the first thing that you should be doing when you are, what are some of the things you should be doing? Basically giving tasks to a new member who just joined and then wait for the action. So after you give them the next 30 days training and the lunch pass, you give them that information, tell them go and watch this video or log into this webinar, this next 30 days training and action plan. Now, what I do, I wait for the action. So then I send a message, did you do it? Did you watch the webinar? Did you watch the video? And if they say yes, then I ask them, what did you learn, right? Then I give them the next task. Now, next thing is, what are you going to do? Create your list and talk to people. So here is the approach video or the approach script. Create your list. Did you create it? Yes. Okay, so here's the approach. Then I practice with them how to approach people on some of the scripts so they get comfortable. Okay, so then I tell them, go make some phone calls and let me know what happened. Okay, so I give them tasks, I wait for their action, and then they report to me what happened. And then I give them more. I don't just dump everything on them and then wait. And I'm like, okay, so you joined, you go learn all this information, and then I'll talk to you later. And if they don't come back with the action or the result that they took, I'm not going to give them any more. All you have to do in the first 24 hours to 48 hours Launchpad, next 30 days training, approach training. You give them those trips. You let them know about the webinars and the Sunday night webinar and the Tuesday night webinar, and then you wait for them to see what they're going to do with that. If they come back and ask you questions and tell you what they've done, then you give them more information, okay? So give them tasks, more for answers. What's the next thing you should be doing? What's the next important thing that you should be doing?
Always focus on repeating the basics, right? If you're able to master the basics, this business is going to be a lot of fun and it's going to be a lot easier for you, which is everything in the next 30 days Launchpad, right? So they talked about the list, master approach, right? You want to teach them how to approach effectively, do it the right way with like and trust and the form method and sharing objections. So only send them those videos. We actually have a lot of training on our GWT.com website that talks about how to build a list, how to approach people, and handling objections. But only send them those videos if they have questions or if they have experienced something that they need help on.
That's right. So those are the main things you should be focusing. And again, when it comes to objection, I personally don't send the objection video to a new member just because I don't know if they have if they haven't talked to anyone. What's the point of telling them all this stuff that they're going to hear? Because they haven't. I just tell them, go talk to people, and then let me know what they tell you. When I see the member come back and tell me, this objection I heard, then I start giving them answer. I tell my new LC, there's nothing that we haven't heard. We heard everything in the past years that we've been with the company. So you're going to hear concerns, you're going to hear questions, you're going to hear objections, but your job is to come and tell me, so I'll give you the answer. Okay, so when I see the member is actually actively out there and talking to everybody and receiving a lot of objections, that's when I know my member is working. So at that point, what I do, I use them, I send them the video for the objection that's been done by Renee and Lior. So the next thing you want to do is set the mindset, the culture, and the expectations, set the habits of showing up to webinars. You got to remember, the person who joined your team, in the first 24 hours, 24 hours to 74 hours, whatever, in the first 2 days. Basically, this person doesn't have the habit of GWT habit. Like for me, it's a habit. For you, Marshall, it's a habit. But for a new member who's coming from a job and life and kids and family and completely a different lifestyle, they don't have the habit of Sunday night being on the call or, showing up once in a month to the boot camp or communicating with so many strangers. They don't have those habits. So what you need to do is you need to start setting up that culture for them. You need to letting them know. You need to reminding them slowly every week, every day that you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to, and then they slowly start getting used to. When you remind them about the Sunday night training, you a couple of times remind them about the boot camp, that they have to sign up to boot camp. They have to sign up to the boot camp. Then you keep telling them that you need to ask that question in the video My 5, ask the next My 5. Then they start learning those habits and they start using it in the future. So it's your job to practice those things with your new LC until they get used to it. Okay, and some people will never use, that's fine. So stay coachable and teach them to be coachable. Marshall, what do you have to say about that?
Man, I think this is one of the things that helped me, have a lot of success with my team, is that we teach people how to be coachable, right? Because the reason why behind being coachable is that your leaders, the people that are part of my 5 support team, they already gone through the hardship of building a business, so they know what to do. They know where the line, like the landmines are. So it's their job to help you weave through those landmines, if you guys know what I'm talking about. So the more coachable you are, the easier this is going to be for your business. We have an amazing system. Everything, I've been in the industry before Global World Trade for 3.5, 4 years. But I knew that Maria, Leo, Renee, whoever that's supporting me knows more than I do. Because if I did, I wouldn't be where I was when I got started. So what that means is be coachable. Don't think like you know everything. If you think you know everything, you would have been up there by now, right? So stay coachable and teach your team to do the same. Because if your team is able to do the same, it's only in for the best interest.
Absolutely, and I should acknowledge you about when it comes to that topic. Marshall is actually one of those people, one of those leaders in the company who, in the past a year and a half, almost 2 years that you're part of the company, I've never had. We none of us in the upline team had any experience with Marshall where he resists coaching. Anything we tell him, he does it. He never questioned upline's instruction. He never questioned, he never resists anything. And that's the reason why in a very short time, he actually reached the top, and he's one of the most successful people in the company and running the entire market, because he never resists or questions anything the upline say. He's very open, like many people in the team that I work with on a daily basis. He's very open to coaching, he's very open to improving, and he always asks a lot of questions. He always, when something is happening in the market, the first thing he does is pick up the phone, call, and, Maria, I need to talk to you about this. What do you think about this? What do you think? What do you think about this thing we're going to be doing in the future? And we always give him, there's a lot of stuff that, he wanted to do or he's been doing at the beginning that was not aligned with the GWC system. And we were telling him, this is not going to work. And he would not do it. He would just change it or, ask, what should I do? And this is a great example of a great leader, that you don't want to question your upline instruction. If you're not sure if this is something that the upline says is part of the system, or this is his or her personal opinion, guess what? You have 5 of them. Go to the next one. And then, ask all 3, 4, 5 of them, if you're hesitating about something. And then when all of them give you the same answer, that means it's a system and you should be following, right? So the worst thing you want to do is do it your way. Because your way not going to only hurt you, it's going to also hurt your team. So set the branding party and tour with the network and show up to the first tour and branding parties and have them to shadow you. This is so amazing, especially for me who travel. I actually see a lot of people doing things that I'm like, really? So like the member comes to me and says, so I joined the business and I have a branding party or a tour, and that was my first one. My upline, my enroller wasn't available to support me. And I'm like, really? So that's what you don't want to do. So when you help them to set their first branding party or first tour, you need to be there for them. You need to support them. Your new member not going to present. Your new member doesn't know what the hell they're doing. They just got it started and they brought lots of people to the room. Your job is to go do the job, do the work, and have them shadow you. You do that once, twice, and then after that, just be there and then have them do the job, and then you give them feedback, okay? So that's what you should be doing. Now, some of the things that you should not be doing. So what is the first thing you should not be doing that's important, Marshall?
Don't send them too much information that they don't need to know yet, because this is going to happen is that they're going to get overwhelmed and they're going to be so tired, oh my gosh, there's so much information for me to learn. So whenever they're going through something or whenever they need specific information, that's when you show them the information. Or let them know, hey, there's a website called rgwt.com website that one of our amazing leaders has made, and there's a lot of information on here. So whatever you need help with, it's there for you to watch and also to train you. And the next one after that, don't give more drag or chase if they haven't done the basics yet, right, guys? You can't chase somebody that doesn't want to chase their dreams. Work with people that are willing to be coachable, that are willing to work. Those are the times, those are the people you want to spend your time on. If they're not able, if they don't even watch the first 30 days on Launchpad, hey, you know what, you joined, and you joined, but you don't want to do anything. Well, enjoy your products, right? Don't drag or chase anybody, because you will waste a lot of your own personal energy, and that energy could be focused on people that's already building the business. So that's what not to do, and don't talk negative about anyone in the business to your LCs. If you have a problem, bring it up to the Mod 5. That's why they are there. We don't have room for negativity. It's only a positive movement here, and we're all striving for the best, financial success with everybody. So if you have anything negative, don't talk about anything negative to anybody. If you do have a problem, bring it to your Mod 5.
And these are very important things, Marshall, you touch. It's very, very important, very basic stuff of not only GWT, but any corporate world, any company, anywhere you're working. These are stuff is the basic things that you need to follow. Don't talk too much. Don't give so much information. Just give them what they need to know. Especially the new member. Remember, the first when the LC join your team, the first few weeks, few months, they're just window shopping. They're just checking if this is a good company, if this is an integral company, if this is a great leader that I want to follow, if this is the right team, if this is the right company that I want to put my life into it and my reputation. So they're really just window shopping. So that's why you don't want to give a lot of information, make them tired, because also the business has to look like that they can fit it into their life. They already have a busy life. I hope so. So when you're bringing in a new member, try to give them a little bit, make it as simple as possible, have them produce some results, and then give them a little bit more information so they don't get overwhelmed. And then also, just like Marshall said, you don't want to just drag the same person. Bring more people. Get yourself busy. The busier you are, the more your team is respecting you. Instead of dragging the same people inside the team and searching and trying to, forcing people to do things that you want them to do, but they're not interested to do. Instead, find people who are interested to do things that you want them to do. And then don't talk negative about people. Just like Marshall says, it's policy and procedure in the company, and every company has that positive always goes down to the field, and negative goes up. And you want your new members to see a positive, great, inspiring environment, healthy environment that they put themselves into, not anything negative. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about is how to turn a new luxury consultant. So now, congratulations, you got your new members in. Now, how do you turn a new luxury consultant to a leader? So now your luxury consultant passed their first 24 hours, 48 hours. You already did the next 30-day training. You already did the lunch pad. You already gave them the approach. They put their list together. You did the first branding party or tour, whatever it is. So now the first 24 hours, 48 hours is passed. So now you're trying to turn this new luxury consultant to a leader. Okay, so this is the interesting part. And this is kind of like going, for me, like the first part, the first part, that closing is kind of like, what do you call it, like a kindergarten, right? You just get them enter. And then the whole 24, 48 hours time from they just join and they're learning, it's kind of like elementary school. They're just learning, they're just playing around, they're just learning how to walk, how to talk, and all that stuff, right? Literally, like it's just like a little baby. You just give them very, very little, see their reaction, give them more. You're very careful. So now when it comes to, after they pass a couple of weeks, they got a couple of people in their team, and now they learn how to do things. They already know the process, the system. So now it comes to high school, like a little bit more advanced. So now I'm training them more on advanced stuff. Okay, so how do you do the advanced stuff? So the first few weeks, you pass the first few weeks, and now first few months, when your consultant is past those levels. So at this point, they should be having 1 or 2 or 3 new members. If they haven't, it's because they kind of missed one of those steps, or they got stuck somewhere. Maybe they didn't use this script properly. Maybe they don't know how to handle objections. They kind of got stuck. That's why they don't have a team yet, because they got stuck somewhere, and you haven't been there available for them to help them get through it, right? But if you've been doing that, if you've been out helping them to get through the objections, the negative people around them, the sunblocks that stop people, most people get stuck with the sunblocks in their life. So if they got through that, then by now they should be having 3 or 4 or 5 people in their team. So now you're training them to go to a leader, become a leader. So first thing, you should be talking to them. I think I lost Marshall. Let me just check. Somehow, Marshall, are you still on the call with me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Are you good now?
Yes, I'm good.
Awesome. So the first thing that you should be doing when your team is growing and your member is growing and sponsoring their people is make sure they understand the team strategy. So if you're the upline, you need to teach them the team strategy that they have to build one team at a time. They're not going to back and forth. They're not going to jump between 2 teams. They're going to be building one team at a time. They're going to be sponsoring few people in their common team. You're the upline. You're the one who's going to teach them which one is the upline, the common team. And then you're going to show them, then after sponsoring 3 or 4 and their common, then they're going to start their personal team. And then you're going to show the benefit of doing that. So most people come to me and say, oh, my downline is not listening to me when I tell them you should follow the team strategy. I'm like, the reason people don't listen to you is because A, maybe you're not listening to your upline, and B, maybe you haven't explained the benefits of following that system. To show them the benefits of team strategy. Make sure if you don't know what is the team strategy and what are the benefits of it, make sure to go to your upline, have your upline to explain it to you, and then you explain it back to your upline, so you're good at explaining it and your upline see that you can actually deliver the message. Then go to your downline and explain it to them why it's important to follow the team strategy, okay? The second thing that they should be paying attention is, Marshall?
Launchpad targets. Yes, I'm here. Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How's that
okay. It's okay. So the next thing that they should be paying attention to is the launchpad targets. What is this? This is getting to diamond. This is getting to diplomat. This is getting to ambassador. And this is getting to all the amazing level leadership that we have in the company. And everybody's goal that I usually tell people is, hey, you know what? Your goal is to be RA, right? So you can be a part of the 2% shareholder position. So, and when everybody that is reaching these targets and that are excited to do so, guess who's going to win? You're going to win by default when they reach those targets. And they're also going to win, and also their team is going to win as well. So those are very important as diamond, diplomat, ambassador, and regional ambassadors and above.
And it's funny you say that, Marshall, because when you're working with different markets, even not only people in my team, but people in other teams, I always have conversations with leadership, and it's interesting. The speed of the leader is the speed of the pack. Markets that are growing the fastest are the one who actually leveraging and utilizing the launch pad. So I remember I had a conversation with one of the leaders. I think it was Hoa in Nigeria, and I asked her, what is the main thing that you guys are focusing all the time? And she's like, everybody in the team who joined, their first target is to become a regional ambassador, and everybody was shooting for a regional ambassador. So which one is the team that's bringing the most regional ambassadors right now? The same team, everybody's going for regional ambassador. So our conversations when we're talking to the team members, whether it be on Facebook, phone, text messages, as soon as I talk, a member from my team reach out to me and say, Maria, how are you doing? Or they ask a question, I finish my conversation with are you a diplomat yet? When are you going to be a diplomat? When are you going to be an ambassador? Every time I talk to Marshall, I ask him, how close you are to regional ambassador? How close you are to regional ambassador? Because that's what he's going next. So that's what our conversations are. It's a culture. It's like we're living, breathing, eating, walking, thinking about what's the next thing. When am I going to be the national ambassador? When am I going to be a regional ambassador? What do I need to do to get that done? And that's because that's your culture. It becomes the culture of your team, and everybody shooting for that and working out toward it, right? Now, the next thing is presenting. I remember when I was in Minneapolis, second time or third time with our vice president, Sanaz Human, one of the things we've done that time was we actually, in front of everyone, Sanaz told Marshall that you're fired from presenting the tour, right? So why is that? Because you want your new luxury consultant to step up into presenting, to doing things. So it all starts with, sharing their testimonial first. When they're sponsoring 2 people, you should have them share their testimonial in front of the room. Then after sharing their testimonial, then hosting the call. Then start presenting the tour. So when they have a few people in their team, they should be starting presenting. So presenting the tour, and then after that now they're a diplomat, now they're an ambassador, so you should get them to start presenting the Tuesday night training, doing the webinar, doing training, doing the boot camp training. And doing the training, so one of the best ways somebody can learn something is when they train. So I remember when I used to go to, when I go, but at the beginning, when I used to go to Lior and say, okay, so I was selected to train at the boot camp, what do you think I should train? And he would ask a question like, what are you not good at? And I'm like, well, I don't know how, I don't know how the compensation plan works exactly. He's like, that's exactly what you should train. And I was always like, why? I don't even know how to, I first need to learn. But that's how you learn. You learn by presenting, by training. So when you get your team members to start stepping up and training and hosting, that's how they get good at it, by doing it, not by sitting and listening. Okay, so that's why it's very important for you to have your new consultants to after they start obviously having a team, having a few people in their team and having some success, have them to go from starting to present, starting to talk, starting to share, starting to do the job. And then eventually there will be a powerful trainer on the Sunday night training, and doing the training for the leadership call, right? So the next thing, and training, again, as I talk about it, after presenting the tour and sharing the testimonial, presenting the tour, it comes to training, and the training is, normally they have to be part of CDSE to be able to train either on the webinar or in the boot camp. So that's where, so if you do have, diplomats or ambassadors in your team, you might want to take a look at, are you empowering your team, your diplomats and ambassadors, to present? Do you empower your team to get in front of the room and host the room? Do you empower your team members? And do you encourage them to share their testimonial? Do you encourage them to do the presentation? Do you encourage them to, if they're diplomat and up, do you encourage them to present, to train the webinar or train the next 3 days training or Launchpad or train in the boot camp? When I was in Winnipeg, that was one of the first things that we had to correct, because there's a lot of leaders in the team, but they just wanted to make sure it's perfect. They're like, oh no, it has to be perfect. We have so many guests, we can't afford to have new members present. I was like, are you kidding me? No, I'm not presenting. You're not presenting either. She's not presenting either. We're going to have a new member present tonight. And that's what you have to do. You have to let go of controlling. You have to let go of trying to do everything right. You have to let go of being the perfectionist. This business is not the perfectionist business. When you let go of trying to make everything perfect, your business will start growing. But as long as you want to make sure everything is perfect and you want to make sure everything is under your control and you're controlling everything, that's the worst thing you could do to your business, because duplication never going to happen with perfection. It's just never going to happen. I mean, it's either perfection or duplication. It can't be both, because duplication happens with normal people and average people in your team. But when you want to control everything and you want to make sure everything is perfect, you're basically killing the duplication, because nobody's going to get developed in your team and nobody's going to be excited to do things. So, and then after they pass the training stages and they reach the diplomat and they're learning stuff and their team is growing, they're taking charge, they're doing things, they're constantly sponsoring. Now you're training them on the forensic. Again, forensic is not something that they teach people who join. The new consultants. Forensic is for people who've been in the business for a while and they have long-term vision. They already developed their team, the basics of their team, and now they're building, they're making commissions. So now you want to teach them forensic, because you want to take them from making a couple of $1,000 per month to making $10,000 per month, right? So now, practice being coachable, negative up, positive down. That's what we talk about many times in the past. And, you need to practice being coachable. I don't tell my team to be coachable. I try myself to be coachable, even though it's really hard. But, I mean, I'm going to be coachable, at least in front of my team. I'm going to show them how coachable I am so they can be coachable to me. So if you're not coachable yourself, you can't expect your team to be coachable. And you're going to have people who are not going to be listening to anyone anyways, and it's fine. Work with people who are coachable and want to grow, right? The 3 stages of momentum. When I was in Minneapolis, I showed the 3 stages of momentum of forensic to Marshall, and then when I was in Winnipeg, I showed them, and it made a huge difference. But 3 stages of momentum is not for new people. It's for people who've been in the business for a while, who're building a team. So then they understand the long term what they need to do in building a team. Share your testimonial when you learn about 3 stages of momentum, Marshall. When you learnn first in Minnesota.
Yes, absolutely. This is the first time I was learning about this 3 stages of momentum, and I did not learn this stage in my own business at all. So this was so new to me. One of the mistakes that I did was that I sustained it too long. So if you understand what the three stages of momentum is, like you build momentum, you sustain it, and you advance it, right? So I stayed on sustaining for too long, and I did not focus on advancing it. So when you advance it, what do you do when you advance it? You put in a new team. So what that does is that it's just going to drive more momentum from what was already started. So we've been implementing on the three stages of momentum of what you were teaching us, Maria. And it's been a fun ride. It's been such a fun ride since, because we feel the momentum, we see the momentum that's happening from advancing it, and it's just, it's a good feeling. So
yeah, and it's just a long-term vision. You know, you're not going to be sitting here waiting for this team to make you a millionaire. You know that your job is not done. You know that you have to go bring a new team in the business and advance the momentum of this team, and you know that there's so much to be done. So when I get together with my leaders everywhere I go, these are the conversations I have with my leadership, people who are already stepping into leadership. Talk about team strategy, you know, talk about the next target in the launch pad, you know, talk about, okay, so are you presenting, who's going to be the host, you know, having time you present, who's a new member who should be doing the hosting. We're talking about the training, you know, when are you going to do the leadership call, when are you going to do the boot camp. You're going to be, like, I don't present the boot camp anymore when I go to a market. I do my best not to. Sometimes I get kind of like pushed into it, but I want to do the boot camp. It's not my time. I've been 7 years in the business. It's enough. It's the team. It's time for the team. It's time for the new generation of leaders to step up and then run the team. Otherwise, that's the promise of this industry, residual income. And residual income not going to happen if you don't let people to step up, okay? So we talk about forensic all the time. We talk about practicing being coachable and things that we should be doing in the team, you know, that make sure everybody's coachable and following the system. And we talk about stages of momentum. Those are the juicy, delicious conversations we have when I go to every market. And it's awesome. It's awesome because they get clarity. They get vision. They know what's next to go. And they actually start realizing what are the things that they have, like the mistakes they've been doing that they didn't know. And now it's get clear for them. So now, what are some of the things that you should be doing to do and not to do? Keep sponsoring new people under your growing leaders. So you think when I saw, for example, Azanet becoming an ambassador, I stopped because that was growing in Europe. No, I started sponsoring a new team under her, right? When Marshall started taking off, you think I would stop? No, I putting a new team, and I'm constantly sponsoring, even though I have ambassadors in my team. And I have ambassadors that I personally sponsor that are about to become regional ambassador. I'm personally sponsoring and putting more people into my team. Why? Because it's going to help them, because they're going to have a common team, and it's going to help them to even go to the next target faster. And it's also basically creating more advance in my team and getting me to my target even faster. Okay? So what's the next thing that you should be doing, Marshall, when you're developing a leader?
Let them take leadership and do things themselves. This is one of the things that I had to overcome because, you know, I wanted to make sure that it had to be perfect. And I learned from you and Finesse, hey, you got to stop doing that, right? So, you know, it's been incredible because I started to let Sandy, Chris Wilkening, on my team, Ozzy, Hui, they're all taking leadership and doing things themselves because this is teaching them how to duplicate the system and also how to duplicate their future leaders as well. So Chris Wilkening, he's actually doing our tax training, and he is incredible at what he does, and it's incredible and fun seeing people stepping up and giving them a leadership role for them to take advantage of. So this is going to make your business much easier because whenever you have to leave to a different state, to a different country to build a different market, you have a team right there that's ready, and that already learned how to build a business, how to take leadership when you're not there, and that's the goal, is to duplicate yourself.
And this is such a great lesson you learned, Marshall. I remember when his team was growing in Vegas, I called him and I said, well, your team is growing in Vegas. Do you want to take a trip there? And his response was like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? He's like, well, you know, when my team was growing, you actually waited until my team grown to a certain amount, and then you travel to Minneapolis. That's what I'm going to do because that actually allowed me at that time to go through my ups and downs and challenges and learn from my mistakes. So I want to do the same thing. I want to give the same gift to my team in Vegas. I want them to actually go through the challenges. I'm going to be in communication with them on the phone. I'm going to support them. I'm going to direct them. But I'm not going to go and do the job for them until the team basically develop. And that was such a great answer from a leader. And I was like, that's awesome. That's what I should be doing. You know, wait till a leader develop, like build their team, be there, answer questions, be on the call, but don't go there, try to do things yourself. And, you know, that was a great lesson that I learned from Marshall, right? Now, encourage them to share testimonial, host, present, and train. I know it's very difficult. I know when you want to make sure the presentation with 20 guests in the room, you know, you want to make sure that become a perfect presenter, the perfect host, the perfect testimonial. You want everything to be perfect. I understand that. Trust me, I'm the myth perfectionist too. But I know I'm here to develop leaders. And as imperfect as they are, it's their opportunity to grow and become a leader. So when there's 20 guests in the room, it's a perfect opportunity for the consultants and leaders in the room to learn how to handle 20 guests. So to learn to basically present. Then I put them in front of the room. I'm like, you know what, go present. Because the guest doesn't know any better anyways. And I'm just going to go at the end and share my testimonial. So you want to encourage them. You don't want to push them. You don't want to force them, but you want to encourage them. You want to give them incentive. If you do the tour tonight, I'm going to let you do this. I'm going to give you this. You're going to accomplish. I'm going to take you out for a drink if you do the tour. I'm going to do this for you. So this way, they get encouraged to take action. And when you're not in the market, just like Marshall said, they're going to do everything on their own because they've done it already and they got feedback. Put them on the leadership map. So it's very important. You know the leaders in the company, regional ambassadors and national ambassadors. When you have great team members in your team, stars, you know, not only you want to put, you know, so much energy and make sure to turn the stars to a fire, but also you want to put them on the map of leadership. Let your upline know. Let the regional ambassadors, national ambassadors know that this is my star, been taking these actions. She's so successful. He's good at this. He presented this. So this way we know who are the stars, so we can acknowledge them. We can use them in the future for the next training. And this is how, you know, the corporate also pick their recognitions and awards for the convention by knowing who are the stars in the field. And they wouldn't know unless, you know, you report them or you put them on the map of leadership. You know, when we put them on the map of the company. So what's the next one? Hold them accountable on their forensic GMO and VMO. So Marshall, I know you've been really good at that. Share a little bit about what you've been doing about that.
Absolutely, you know, especially for our front lines and also for my team, is you know, we always keep each other updated on how many people we have talked to today, this week, and monthly, and how many people and how many tours we've been doing. Because what this does is that it helps each other, encourage each other. It helps us to motivate each other. Like, hey, man, look at, you know, Ozzy was doing, you know, 3 tours today. You know what? I had to catch up to him. You know, so then it's important to keep each other accountable because you guys are all working towards a common goal, which is being financially free. So when you have your team, you know, keep your team accountable. You know, you can ask a group of people or everyone that's in your market, hey guys, you know, keep us updated. You know, I'm going to let you know how many people I talked to today, or how many people I talked to this week, and how many tours I showed this week. And let's do the same thing. This is going to keep us motivated. It's going to help us encourage each other because we're showing each other what we're doing, you know, for the bigger cause.
That's right. And I love those conversations that we have on Facebook with the group, with the leadership, or that I made this many tours, I got this many tours done, this many members are joining, and we keep keeping each other accountable for the next target that we're reaching. What are some of the things that you shouldn't be doing when you're developing a leader? Don't wait for the current team to build your business and make you a millionaire. Sponsor a new team. Build a new team. So I always share this with my LCs who come to me and complaining, my team is not doing anything, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, wow, when I joined, my first year, I was actually very frustrated. I'm like, I'm sponsoring all these people, but nobody does anything. Then one day I said, okay, you know what? I asked, I think it was one of the leaders, I asked how many people I need to have an IA for me to make, let's say, 5 to 10 grand per month. And they said you need anywhere, to be safe, anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 people in your team, on monthly inventory account, so you can make, 5 to 10 grand residual income. And then I caught up to myself and I said, well, there's 6 million people just in Toronto and I don't know how many billion people are in the world. But, if I need to go door to door, literally, door to door and reach out to every single person and show them the business and sign them up into my team so I can have 2,000 to 3,000 people personally sponsored in the team. So 2,000 to 3,000 people on monthly inventory accounts, so I can have 5 to 10 grand residual income. Even if it takes me to personally sponsor that 2,000 people, that 2,000 to 3,000 people, I will do that. And I'm not going to wait for anyone to build my business. I'm not going to wait for upline. I'm not going to wait for my downline. And that's the kind of mentality that got me on the phone, and I would be like calling days and nights and doing tours, 5 tours, 6, because my vision was getting that 3,000. Guess what? With 60 people, I'm making my 6-figure now. So, but your vision has to be, I'm not going to wait for anyone to build my team. I have 2 teams to build, and I'm going to build myself. I'm not going to wait for anyone, whether if it's upline or downline, to build it. Okay, so next one is, Marshall, what's the next one?
Don't be a control freak and try to do everything yourself. You got to make sure that, again, we talked about earlier, you have to develop leaders, and how you develop that is to have them do different tasks, right? And then from there, just don't, just have fun with it. Don't try to control the whole situation. Let your people, let your teammates, let your LCs help you out in whatever you're doing, and don't do everything by yourself, because what's going to happen is that you can get stressed out, and you might, and you might just be angry because you're mentally tired, but you could have prevented that in the future by asking for help, by asking people to step up, to do trainings, to do presentations, and etc.
Yes.
And also the next.
And Marshall, we just wanted to add, and it's such a joyful journey when you go to places where you have a lot of leaders. They're doing the work, and your job is just to sit in the back of the room and then watch them doing an amazing job, sometimes even better than yourself. It's just an amazing. I know maybe you're there, maybe you're not, because I haven't been in Minnesota for a while, but it's a joyful journey when you go to your team, to a market. I mean, in Toronto even, when I show up to some of the events, I just sit back and I'm like, this is amazing, because there are people in my team presenting, doing the tours, doing testimonials, doing trainings that are even better than me. And that's what I call residual income. So, and it just happened when you're not a control freak. Go on, next.
Definitely, don't take the credit for yourself only when the work is done by the team. The most important thing is that how you empower people. You give credit to where it's due. Don't take all the credit for stuff that you didn't do. Because the fact of the matter is, when you empower your team members, you empower people that that's building your business. Because if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have the residual income that you are receiving. So make sure, give credit where it's due. That's the most important thing, because that's going to help encourage your leaders to build their business to reach their financial dreams and goals.
Absolutely. What a great point. Don't compete with your growing rising stars and leaders in your team. When you start competing with your team members, they don't look up to you as a leader anymore. You actually lose respect, because they can't trust you. They can't trust you that they can actually ask for help, or you have their best interest in your mind. So don't compete with your rising stars and your leaders. Instead, empower them, encourage them, support them, reward them, recognize them for the great things they're doing. Okay? Don't expect them to be coachable if you're not coachable. Right?
Absolutely. You definitely have to be coachable. And if you want your team to be coachable, you have to experience what you are preaching, right? Because you don't want to preach stuff that you haven't even done. That doesn't make sense. And and again, if I can, add something to don't compete with your growing rising stars and leaders. Your goal, as Ramin taught us, is your goal is to have your teammates make more money than you. And remember that when that happens, by default, you're still going to win. You're still going to make a lot of money just from that. So don't compete with each other. Help people make more money than you. And
that's right.
Yeah,
Awesome. So that takes us to the next, to the last thing that for tonight that I was saying that you're here for a treat. So what I've done in order to put this training together, I've done some interviews with some of our top leaders in the company, just asking them what they've been doing. And some of them actually share very interesting stuff. So what this training was put together as a result of those interviews. So I have one of our interviews with actually our regional ambassador and President Cup winner for 2014, Comfort. The Comfort is from Nigeria. As you know, she's the first person in Nigeria who became the regional ambassador, and she also sponsored Hoa, who is basically the second regional ambassador in Nigeria. So I had an interview with her. And I asked her the same questions. I said, what has been the best, the thing that's been the secret or the most effective thing in Nigeria that basically grow the market? And here was her answer. The moment we launch a new VDM, we commence the 30 days action plan via the Launchpad. We also make sure every member gets involved in the VC training and get to the approach script, which I call the conversation starter. The conversation starter is our local approach script. It enables new VDM owners reach out to all their circle of influence within a few days or a week of joining. The Launchpad is the main focus. So this is exactly word by word what Comfort said. I asked her, what is conversation starter? Because that's very interesting. It's a new word I heard. And she explained conversation starter as like making sure you make all people around you know about your new business by announcing your new business and making everyone understand how rich you will be in the future and how beautiful you will look like when you receive your product, when your product arrives, and how you can also help them to become part of this great opportunity. What a beautiful way of looking at the business, that letting your network know that how rich you will be in the future with this business and how beautiful you will look when your product arrives, and how you can actually help them also to become part of this opportunity. And so she basically, what she does and her team, they let everyone in their network know about this, right? So the first few words people that you tell become interested and inquisitive. So then you invite them for a home branding party. So basically they say a few words and people get really excited, and then they invite them to a branding party tour. So I asked her, do you guys do a lot of retail branding party or do tour branding party? Like you do the branding party, you do the tour, you present the tour in the branding party. And then her answer was like, we do at home branding parties, we concentrate on opportunity, business opportunity, more than retailing the product because sales come naturally. So basically they do more tours and sponsor new members than just retail, okay? So that was Comfort answer, which really just summarized everything we've been training in the past couple of, in the past hour. And then Sarah Wong is also another leader from Toronto who just became, she and her partner became ambassadors, and I know they have 2 or 3 ambassadors already in their team. So this is one of the fastest growing teams in the company also, and it's from Toronto, so in North America. So I asked her the same question, and her answer was, we take them through the back office, make sure they plug into the Tuesday and Sunday night webinars. We set them up with their My5 group. They come to our physical training sessions. We teach them to don't say too much when when booking appointments with the prospect. We use a lot of 2-on-1 meetings as well, so they can learn from shadowing us. What a great, simple, summarize everything that we just said in the past hour. She continued, so I asked her, I know you're doing a lot of tax training, you guys invented the tax training. Is the tax training is what you focus? She said, tax training is an amazing tool for prospecting and has brought us a lot of success. So we want everyone to know that there is nothing wrong with sharing something good. But it's also important that they know what's the next step now that they've launched their business. So next 30 days Launchpad are equally important. And then I asked her, then she said, she continued, tax training is definitely relevant here in North America, but in other parts of the world, they don't need tax training. That's right. So I asked, what do you do, what do you use as an approach, a main approach in other markets outside of North America? And she said, for outside of North America, this works the best. GWT is an investment opportunity to invest in your future earning potential and to invest in material assets. So that's what they've been using, especially in the Asian market. So that was Sarah Wong, and as you see, both leaders who have the fastest growing organizations teams right now in GWT have been using pretty much the same thing. It's the same system. Now, Marshall, I know your team is growing in Las Vegas and Minneapolis and different parts of the United States and in Vietnam. What would you say out of everything that we train that you use the most, or what are some of the things that you don't use that you think you should be implementing?
Absolutely. You know, we always talk about the first 30 days on Launchpad and teaching them the basics to success with global wealth trade. And, you know, the fact that we tell people, you know, get paid to look good, you know, you have exclusive rights to a luxury designer line that pays you to wear and promote their line. So when we actually use that approach a lot, and it gets people very, very interested. And you know, one of the things that we're starting to implement now is our tax training, and we've seen that there's a lot of success in this tax training, and we definitely want to utilize this amazing tool and get the company to $1 billion by you know, by next year.
Absolutely, Marshall. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. You know, and we also tell people, you know, these investments that you are investing in, the precious commodities, this fashion goods that actually still keep its value even from 2 to 10 years from now. Because, you know, if you guys understand, you know, like most pieces, I know, like, for example, one of my watches, I'm not sure you guys saw the video I posted on Facebook. I had those watches for, you know, ever since I first joined the company, and people are willing to buy these watches at a higher price. So these stuff that you're investing, they're all investments. And when you build this business that have products that add value over time, that what really helps, you know, me and also the team build our business when we talk to different prospects. And we use a lot of one-on-one meetings and two-on-ones as well.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Awesome. So, you know, ladies and gentlemen, I know it's a little bit past the time that we were supposed to take a longer time, but we kind of summarized the entire business in an hour and a half, which is awesome. We accomplished a lot tonight. I want to thank you for being on this call. Marshall, you did an amazing job, and Sandy, yourself, thank you so much. You guys are awesome. I'm proud of both of you and Minnesota team. Thank you to Sarah. Thank you to Comfort. I know a few other leaders in the company sent them a message, but we just couldn't get connected on time. So I want to thank all of you for being on this call. If you have any comments, any question, I'm going to take maybe a few more minutes, 1 or 2 more minutes, just to stay in the call. If you have any question, I can answer your questions or any comments. We'd love to hear from you. If you don't get to send your message or comment tonight, that's fine. You can always send us any feedback, comment, questions on Facebook. I'm always open to learn and improve and make it even better. There are a couple of comments coming in. Super fantastic training, Maria and Marshall. One of the best Sunday night training I've ever heard in a while. Great energy and super leadership knowledge. Thank you so much. That was from Deroy Matthew. Thank you, Deroy. So there's a question coming about where should you go when you have any concern or any question or any problem? Who should you talk to? That's great. That's what My 5 is for. You should, if you have any problems, you're in a business. Nobody said it's going to be perfect. Nobody said it's going to be smooth. Nobody said we're a company. We're growing. We've been 10 years in the market. We're always open to for feedback. We're always open to improve. So if there's anything that you need, but regarding the product, regarding the system or anything, feel free to share with your upline first. And if you don't get an answer, proper answer from your upline, My 5. This is a qualified My 5, not any upline. There has to be a diplomat or ambassador and above. Share with them first. And if it doesn't get answered, then what you can do, reach out to regional ambassadors in the company or national ambassadors. And still, if it doesn't get resolved, then you can send a support ticket. Okay? So negative always go up. Problems always go up because only the people at the top can resolve it. So you don't talk about it to anybody else. So wow, an amazing training. Thank you, Maria Marshall. I have never heard this type of training before. Thank you, Abdulia. That was Abdulia. Thank you so much. Fabulous. Thank you for sharing. That was Lisa. Mary Green. I am Marie from Jamaica. Thank you, Mary. Great training. Thank you. We learned a lot tonight. Thank you. We have a few more questions coming in. Yeah, there's some questions about product. You should, when it comes to product section, product department, you should always send a support ticket. And if it's, or you can send an RAF. So if you don't know what is RAF, reach out to your My5, qualify offline, My5, or one of the regional or national ambassadors, and they will actually train you on how that works, and they will take care of it for you. Okay. Amazing webinar, Maria Marshall. One of the best I've been on so far. The last point that you made on being coachable definitely hit home for me. Once again, thank you guys a lot. You're welcome. Sharing the positiveness on getting me the greatest help that I need. James Johnson, no problem. It was a pleasure being on the webinar. All right, awesome. Thank you so much, team. Again, Kelly sent a message, amazing training. Thank you so much. Robert sent a message, great training. Thank you. Thank you, team. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for being on the call. It's getting late. I know your time and your attention is all yours. You gave it all generously. I want to thank you. Marshall, if you have anything else you want to add, if there's any announcements, Sandy, you can add. Otherwise, we can finish the call.
Definitely. Thank you very much for everyone that was a part of the call today. I hope we added some value to your business and also to your team. And on Tuesday, fast track and also first 30 days training. So definitely do not miss that. And also make sure to ask your uplines if they have any regional events for you to attend as well. So thank you to everybody, and you guys have a wonderful, blessed week and a prosperous years to come.
Thank you so much. Build a billion. Have a great night.